What internal renovations have you made since we were last together? No, we'll see how different stages. Need to stay from where this is. Okay, so. Okay, everybody.
Your son asked you, he remembers the time so that, and he thought it was, but you said, no, you really do not have to because you just give it over to God. And of course, I dropped my daughter off in Texas, and and so he said, what happens when you have that feeling in you, how do you get rid of it, that human feeling of sadness, or how do you get rid of it? And you said you can. And I remember you telling me it's just not down in you yet. So, getting it in me, because I do know, I do trust God and what He's doing in their lives. In that two or something, but I just keep putting in me to Him. Helped me when I saw her face. I had to call her back and let her know what the word was on today to help her too, because in seeing the sadness on her face, but I still trust Him, I do. So I just keep pouring in me.
You miss her, right? Small detail. Small detail. But you know you got to get used to it.
Microphone.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get used to it. And because you have to ask, what's the difference between her being 5 minutes away and 12 hours away, and you went by and she was 5 minutes away and then she wasn't there? What's the real difference?
Knowing that, and I say that to myself, what's the difference? Thank you, and her not being in the room next to me when she was at that I knew I could get to her. And her, the town's so small, I can go and get my mind off of it, being around people. And I know, and I trust that, oh man, do I trust that that's Derry who, she can, she's with, even me being with Spence, I couldn't imagine coming. I just know and I trust God that He's growing them through this, and He's growing me through this. I just miss her. And then I know that the effect, I feel like it's an effect, the same thing that happened with Courtney is happening again, because they just shared another two celebratory moments, and I believe it looked like it was all on. So thinking about both of them, but I do trust that He has a cup for both of them to drink from.
Okay, so what you just said ties into what I'm going to talk to you all about. I suppose you all were wondering why I would ask us to come together. Here's the deal. You talked about trust. We're gonna wait till he finishes, and then talking about trust. Talking about trust, because we're talking about trust. Uh, if you don't trust Him with you, then you're not going to trust Him with anything else. And if you don't trust Him with other than you, you don't trust Him with you. Are you all finding this all ties in together? All right, gotta. In fact, why don't you I got this. I had it. All right, so trust is trust is trust. Trust is trust is trust. However you slice it, it still is trust. Either we do or we don't. You can't half trust somebody, and you can't sometimes trust somebody, and then other times don't. And and trust is not geographically bound. Trust, the reason why it's not geographically bound is because God is omnipresent. And because he's omnipresent, he's just as much here with you as he is there with her. He's in both at the same time. And so therefore, if you trust him with her here, then your trust for him has to be there because he's still there. So our trust, see, once we get past the natural part of it, and then we realize, well, wait a minute, we can be in one place at a time. So it's you just got to trust him. So the reason why I'm asking you all to come together is because we need to. That's all you need to know. It's because we need to. Start out with the piece about trust, because the real issue about all of this is about you have these index cards, and this is where you start working on something right now. And then you wonder why this is up here. There's a reason why this is up here. And see, that's why it's all this intrigue. You're always trying to figure out where it's all going. But right now, you have these index cards to write down what you brought to the relationship. What baggage did you bring to the relationship on the card? What before you all got together? Before you all got together. That's what this really is. What was your jump before you all got together? Just write it all out. Write it all out. This is significant. Everything you can think of. You say, well, it wasn't junk to me. Well, everything you liked about yourself, include that on there too. You might not want to call it junk, but everything you liked about yourself, put that on there as well. All of your high quality stuff that you thought you mean, put that on there as well. That too, you can put that on there as well. All that. Whatever you want to call it, put it on there. Put it on there. It's important. Is what we want you to do right now. Just, if you're not being honest, then it's not helpful. Because I'm really not going to show it to me. I'm not. However, it will be exposed, but I'm not going to ask you to show it to me. But you do need to write it out. And I'll tell you what the next step is after you've written everything else you can think. Now, after you've written down everything you think you can write down, read over it and ask yourself, did I leave something out? Don't edit it and say, I just want to highlight what I consider the best. You want everything that you say, this is how I live, this is my makeup, this is what I like, here's how I do things, these are my pet peeves. All that stuff belongs on here. All of that. Because literally that's what you brought into the relationship. That's in it. That is actually in it. Sometimes it's unspoken, but it's in there. It is in there. So I give you about another minute and a half, because if you're being a pretender, like you can't write something down, then you don't need any more time. You don't need a long time to be a pretender. So that's why you got about 90 more seconds to be able to write out. I'll tell you what we'll do after you've done that. After you've done that. Now here's the thing. Can't ask each other. It's your stuff. It's just your stuff. Oh, hint. If your spouse has said something about you, then they told you something and you don't have that written down, that says that should be on there. Do you understand what I just said? If they've been saying, I don't like this about you, that belongs on there too. 'Cause you got it. That too belongs on there. Okay, so you are pretty much done. All right, so here's what I'm gonna ask. So the reason why this is here, the reason why this is up here, is because this is gonna serve as a showpiece for something. So I'm asking all the ladies to bring what you have on my right, all the men to bring what they have on your left and put it on this, and put it on here. Ladies, my right, men, my left. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your name is not on it, so your name is not on it, so it doesn't matter. See, that's the whole thing. Your name is not on there. Your name is not on. Right. So what were you saying? Watch what now? Okay, so ladies, this way, and that way, man that way. Okay, okay. If you think of anything else, ask for another card. You can always add something else on here. We have plenty of index cards for you to be able to write. And don't try to write so large where you can just put one thing on there. Don't even try that either. Just just be honest. Just be honest about it. So we're facing. What you're doing is, see, you're facing. All right, you all got to help them out on what the exercise is. Wherever you sit, so no matter, sit them next to somebody who will tell them what they need to do. Now, I said somebody who will tell them what to do. Are you going to sit and tell them? No, that wasn't the question. Are you going to sit down and tell them? Because give it to somebody else. Let her tell her, and you need to tell him. Okay. So back again. But what are your thoughts now? Just by having done this, for those of you who have, they're working on it. What are your thoughts now about doing it? What was that experience like? Now this is where we need to use the mic. So what's that experience like? Anybody? Some. Here's one over here. Both. We got all this going on. All right. Okay. Now she's wanted to say something.
So that was eye-opening because it's saying, ooh, I brought baggage. And we never want to think, so I never want to think I'm bringing baggage. But then as you start writing, and then even when you said, what do they say about you, which is few and far between, but it's still something said, and that's that acknowledgement.
Now, why did you qualify with few and far between?
Because he is few and far between what he may say. So it wasn't like, oh, this. No, this is my encourager. He owes me like $100,000 for bringing sunshine to his life.
Oh,
So.
okay. All right.
So you're saying that he's a deficit?
Oh no, because I owe him too.
Square. Okay, it's square. Okay. So now that's what that means. Yes, sir.
For me, it really put it in your face. Whenever you write something, for me, whenever I write something down, it becomes real. You know what I mean? Yeah, put it in your face.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
For me, it was humbling just to be honest with myself and write down things that, like the non-positive things.
Yeah, I mean, I mean that is that, hey, this is the real deal. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, for me, it's just transparency. Nothing hidden. Just,
How did it make you feel?
make me feel.
That's a different question now.
Being invaded.
See that's a totally different description there. Or exposed. See, that's it. Talking about feeling invaded. That's it. That's it. Yes, sir.
Reality check, cold hard look in the mirror at myself.
Yeah, yeah. That's what this is really all about. That you got to be honest. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have to say,
You want to make sure we can hear you.
okay.
Whisper and Tracy. Want to make sure we can hear you.
So it made me think, I always think like, wow, I had to actually think about the things that I brought to the marriage. And it was very interesting because I'm one of those people blaming others.
Hmm.
But I had to look at myself and blame myself for some things that I brought to the marriage.
Yeah, because they were not emailed to you. Not ordered on Amazon. They came with you. It's what they did. They came with you. Yes, ma'am.
I even asked him, would you have, knowing all of this, that you would have to go through certain things like,
Don't let his laugh stop you. Just keep. Okay, it's one of those things. That look that you just gave him. Give me a camera. Turn this camera on her and get this look.
I asked him, would you have married me? Had you think about things when they're asking you out and you pestering somebody to go out with you. So you ask.
In the name of Jesus, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
No, just even in asking, do you know what you're asking for?
Right.
And then in getting into it and just watching him go through it and the patience, I say you must have asked God for patience because he's developed quite a bit of patience in dealing with me and my family, not just my girls, my family, just the things that he's had to deal with when it was just him. He just rides along. And so I'm like, man, would he have signed up for this? This is what that unconditional peace of love means, because did you know this was me sitting at my desk when it looked like I had it all together, walking down the hall? Did you? Here you go, Dr.
No. You were not done. You were not done. Now go. Now, in fact, look over here toward the wall. Now finish saying what you're going to say.
I mean, it was all in sincerity. Like, wow. I guess when you looking at somebody and you saying, no, that now that person could have been saying, ooh, no, I wouldn't have. You think you have it all together until somebody comes in and say, what are you doing? What's going on in here? An invasion of what was with me for 51 years, that he broke in and saw it all.
What you had covered up.
What I had covered up. And he,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, he was still right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking, how people ask you to describe, lay it out, the type of man that you want. And I could never do it because I could never, in doing that would be asking for perfection. And I could never do that. I just know that, God, you know who I need. You know what I need. You know that person that's going to deal with what I really have going on. And in saying that, and I'm every day, even in just the road trip that he just took with my parents and the patience that he had in two elderly parents. And then we come back, and then I had a family reunion and he was just right there. He said, I'm tired, right? But he was just, through that, he was just right there. And I'm like, wow. I didn't ask for it because he put the desires in my heart and gave me just that. I couldn't to ask for what he does because I didn't know that it existed because of, but I know God knew that it existed.
So each household is going to have to say something. That's why you all know, if those of you who think you're getting off the hook, because you really are not. So I just want to let you know that we volunteer or we draft.
Okay, this is the.
Whatever. Whatever.
I'm telling it all.
Tell it. Yeah. I don't know if you can tell it all, but tell what you can.
Yes, I can.
Tell what you can. Oh, Lord. Tell what.
No, the experience in writing it down, I was hoping we wouldn't have to read them out loud. And then
Would you like to
say-
read yours out loud?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't
all
want
right.
to.
Okay.
But it was having to be very honest with myself. And when you said, if the other person said something about you, write that down too. But I didn't because I don't believe it. So I'm serious.
That's what she brought. See, that's part of what she brought.
I
Yeah, you
did.
found unbelief.
brought that. But yeah, just being honest enough to write it down was, in revealing myself to myself, was very humbling.
Is that it? That's all you're going to say?
I'm not gonna say nothing about you.
Okay. And I am not concerned. See, that's the whole thing. I'm not concerned. I'm not. Have at it. I mean, have at it. Have at it. This is Al.
Oh.
So, Dewan, what are you doing? You just standing there. You
You're right. Just tell me where to go.
okay?
I just got it back.
Hey, okay. Let's figure it out. Yes, sir.
My wife, she brought, when I was by myself before I met her, I was raising 2 daughters. It was a job. I was trying to do so many different things, trying to go to different places. So she was a great help to me. And
Yeah, that's totally different, right there.
so I mean that was good because I never know what would have happened if she hadn't came along because I was doing different things and trying to raise my daughters, and that was a totally job of trying to raise 2 daughters with the age of 4 years different. One wanted to go and one wanted to stay at home. So I wanted to go, but I had to stay at home. So yeah, I mean it was a challenge, but it was all joyful, and so that's why I was glad to meet someone that was really willing to help me with my daughters. So.
Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That question, for 10 seconds, I drew blank. And I'm going to tell you why I drew blank, because I thought I was all that, and I brought everything to it, and he wouldn't have been nothing without me.
See,
But
see, that's what I'm talking about. Tell the truth. Let's go and tell the truth. But you did say it was just for 10 seconds, but now, okay, come
10
on.
seconds. But then in my puny little mind, because my mind is puny when I think about me, and I know that I brought a whole bit to it, and he was so patient and kind that he didn't even flinch. I was always mad because he didn't flinch, and so, but it has made me more patient because he's patient. So.
Wow.
So you can tell. You and Mike belong in the same, came from the same tree, Okay. Yes, ma'am.
It caused me to have a lot of self-reflection, and also it made me realize that some of the stuff that I brought, my mother have been telling me for years that I had that.
And what were you saying and telling her? You Gwen's neighbor, right? You were telling what Gwen said, right?
Yes, unbelief. Yes, I didn't believe it, but as I had to write it down, I was like, "Oh wow, my mama been telling me this since I was a little girl, all my life." And I still, here I am, 40, and brought it to my marriage. But as far as Julius, when I spoke with Pastor even about marriage, a question that he posed to me was, what was the value that he brings to my life? It has to be about value, not just my emotions and what I feel. And the value that he has brought to my life, I can't even explain it. I just have to thank God for it, because I was going through a lot myself, even with taking on children, and he stepped right in. And one of the reasons why I knew he was the one, because my daughter told me that she didn't have daddy issues because Julius was around.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So Julius is another one. He's another one. He's another one, because she was bringing it. Oh, okay. So since they haven't said anything, the Douglas household, because they both of them trying to look me off. So, but
when I first met Rita.
No.
What was the question?
Roland,
Please
tell
get the
him what the question is, because now he's gonna praise Rita to get brownie points instead of talking about red. Let's do this. It was, how did it make you? How did you feel when you had to write the things down?
Writing it down, it brought back the reality of my state when I met her. I was broken when I met Rita. I mean, I had 2 kids and a daughter. You know.
Wait. 2 and a daughter.
Yeah.
Well, what were the kids?
3 kids. 3 kids, 2 different women.
Okay. All right. That's a totally different response. Okay.
You know, I didn't have a job. When I got back to St. Louis, I didn't have a job. I was living with my sister when I met Rita. I really didn't have nothing. I was on ground zero, and she just embraced me, you know, and I mean, I don't know much what else to say about that, you know. Her love was true love, you know, because I was in the dumps when I met her, for real.
So give it to Rita. So Rita, why would you pick up? No. This is real. No, it's real. Why would you?
At the time, it wasn't like it was picking up a stray.
Hold it up.
At the time, it wasn't like picking up a stray. I was previous married. I had 3 kids.
So you just told him to bring your 3, and I got 3, and we got 6. Is that what you did?
No.
Okay,
he
go
was
on.
staying with his sister.
Okay.
It was a circumstance. He was staying with his sister when he came back from the Army. He was in the Army. He came home, and his sister said she could stay with him. And then it was a situation at her house. So he ain't had nowhere to go. So what I did was I checked around, looked around, found him an apartment.
Now, were you all just talking to each other casually
just talking
then?
to each other then.
Again, so why would you pick up with nothing on it, with nothing on the line? He's just some guy that you know, and you helping him find somewhere to live. I'm really just playing it out how you're saying it. No, it's nothing wrong. It's playing it out the way you're saying, because this is for everybody.
I had feelings for him, and I didn't want him to be.
Did he know that? Did he know you had feelings for him?
Yeah.
Did you know it, Kent? But I thought you all were just talking to each other, and you didn't say that's more than just talking to each other to talk about your feeling. So you all were already gravitating toward each other then.
In what aspect you saying about the gravity?
Kent just said yes. He don't have any doubts about. You had expressed an interest in each other.
Yeah, we had interest.
Okay, but your first response just said we just knew each other, and I was going to help him out. So you realize that you all.
Yeah, he cared for me, and I cared for him.
Okay.
And he was in a situation, and he needed help, and so I feel like since I cared for him, I was going to help him out.
Okay. All right, so we have to have the story had the dots have to connect. Okay, all right, we still working our way through. We still working our way through. Okay, all right.
Okay, well, me like Rita, I mean, not Rita, Sherry, I thought that I had it going on. I thought that I had already been married before, so I knew that what I was and wasn't going to deal with, what I wanted, and so I thought. When I met David, okay, first of all, let me answer the question. That made me realize how much I did not have it going on, and that I did need somebody to be with, and I needed, because I was all over the place. So it was kind of like a slap in the face to have to write all the things that I have realized I brought to the marriage. It was more bad things than good. And that was like a reality check for me because, like I said, I thought I had it going on. I was young. I've been here, done that. I know what.
You been where? Done what?
I've been married before.
You been where? You been where?
Been there, done that.
Where? You been where?
Married.
No, you been where?
That's
a done that, but you been where?
Well, I already had a lifetime before this lifetime.
Oh.
How old are you?
32.
Okay, a life.
Yeah, I had a life before this life. And so
why'd you let the other life go?
Because it wasn't serving me well.
Okay, so you didn't have a life.
Well, I guess if you put it like that.
Oh, no, I'm just on responding to you. I'm just responding to what you're saying.
But just meeting David, like most of y'all know how we came about.
No, they don't. They don't. You're taking something for granted.
Oh, well, when I met David, we were at the church event, and it was supposed to be Dr. Petty that was there, but it was David instead. And in hindsight, that was God. He says that he knew that I was his wife that day when we met. I was not going for it. I was like, keep him away from me. I am not here for that. Like, he is too young. I'm not doing that. But it was a time where God set it up where I needed somebody. And I didn't at the time think I had nobody until he told me to call David. The Holy Spirit said, call David. And ever since that day, he helped me move through a transition from working at a shop to coming working back home. And after that, him helping me through that transition, he just been like something I didn't know I needed ever since that day. And it was almost like I couldn't get rid of him after that day. But he has been like my left foot in front of my right foot ever since I have submitted to letting him be in my life, because like I said, I was not going for it. I was not having it. I know I was running through the church trying to get away from him. But yeah, since meeting him and being with him, he has been nothing but a help to me. He has helped me see a lot of things about myself that I didn't even realize, or things that I knew but didn't want to accept. So, yeah, this was a very humbling exercise for me.
Right. So I'm going to come back to him and let him have the mic, but I need to ask you a question based on what you said, and this is so you all can, I'm going to see how well you all were listening. Joe Madison, the Black Eagle, before he passed, would always talk about the third ear. All right, third ear was this. She said the Holy Spirit told her to call him to help her. Are you hearing it? That was what you said. To help you. Did he reroute the message and say, marry him because you didn't touch that? Are you all following what I'm doing? Okay. He was there. Helped me in transition. Did this. That's all on the same line of the original thing you said, to help me. Everything is flatline right there. That's the same line throughout everything you said stayed on that line. Did you all follow what I just did? I stayed right there. Now, why do you all think I'm asking that question? Gotta be honest now. Why do you all think I'm asking that question? So you are, there it is. Just listen to it. Listen to what you heard. Because all I said is stayed right here. It did not change.
Right.
It did not change. The emphasis was on help. See, that's deep, isn't it? Let that sink. This is for all of us. Let that sink. This is not pointing finger over here, but a lot of time we hear the beginning of a sentence and we write a paragraph. We hear the title of a book and we finish writing it. He tells us to write a book. He didn't give the content, but we believe because he said write the book, we start writing. Now that's for all of us. That's for all of us. So now, that's so you know that. Now, David, you went through that. You went through writing. How did that make you feel?
Basically the same. I basically
Nope. She spoke for her. She can't speak for you. So you can't echo what she said. You got to say how it made you feel, because you couldn't feel like her.
No.
So now, edit that. Start over again.
I basically felt like I just had it all going on. You know, I had it all going on. It just made me look at myself in the mirror for real, and I seen what I really need, areas I could work on and work in.
How did it make you feel? See, I'm doing the same thing I did with Roland. How did it make you feel?
Made me feel like I'm not all the hot stuff I thought I was,
How did it make you feel? Statement you made, you all need to listen, third ear, you're speaking of a consciousness level, made me realize it's intellectual, not soulish, not emotive, not feeling. How did it make you feel? That means an emotion or emotions have to be associated with it when we talk about how you feel. Now, you see how this is how we're really pulling at this, because too many times we have difficulty fully expressing, and a lot of stuff gets lost while we're trying to say something, because it isn't a reflection of what we feel. We have an intellectual response, which is one that's cerebral, and then now it becomes conflictual because it wasn't a full expression of how I feel. I build a case as to why I don't like it, why I don't like something, but that's all cerebral. That's not emotive. Are you all following the difference between what I'm saying? Because you can build a case, I don't like you because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but you really didn't tell me how you feel. You didn't tell me how you feel. You told me what you didn't like, but you didn't tell me how you feel. Right, okay, go on. So what you're doing is, see at some point, it's going to register that God called me to be a soul surgeon. And the surgeon goes at the core, because that's what Hebrews 4 says. The word of God, quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, dividing soul and spirit, which means it gets beneath the surface. And therefore that means they are not lighthearted conversations, they get beneath the surface. It's like an enema. It's to flush you out. That's what a soul surgeon does. It's like, you need to pull it out so that it doesn't stay in and continue to damage you. You got to get it all out in order to be freed from what we brought. And literally, that's what today is all about. And it's in a, because if where we are right now as couples associated with this ministry, for each one of us, there ought to be other couples that are impacted for the better because we are free to minister to them, and we can tell them why we're stable and robust because of our walk with the Lord. Because they're looking for hope. People are looking for hope. Things are falling apart everywhere. People in the church, people outside of the church. Did you know right now the numbers look the same between people of faith and people who are not of faith? At one point, it was clearly stronger for people of faith. Right now, the numbers are flattened out. It looks the same. It looks the same. So therefore, the implication is that having a relationship with Jesus Christ doesn't make a difference, because the numbers look the same now. But is that how it should be?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, now go on. Now go on. You may not be able to answer it right now. You may not be able to answer it. That's okay.
It wasn't like no major emotion. You know, it was like a reality check. Like I just felt a little like a
No. You gotta.
It would just make me feel
You gotta listen. You just gotta listen, because I had to do the same thing with Roland. You're justifying now why you're calling it what you're calling it, until he had to dig and come back and address an emotion that he was feeling. At first, he went another way, transparent, or just being transparent. It really felt transparent, and he was. Yeah, you were. See, yes. And he even gave that military stance, transparent. and you know what? And he was ready to move on to give the mic to somebody else. He said his piece. It's like next. That's what it looked like. So therefore, you had to feel something. Now, part of it, sometimes we have difficulty connecting and being honest about our feelings. And so, because it's easier to avoid it, because then you can tell whatever, don't matter. But that produces dis-ease inside. When you don't come connect with your feeling, then it causes your body to get off. Because those emotions have to go somewhere. When they don't come out, they eat you up. They eat you up. All right, try it again. And then we're going somewhere you might not be able to answer. Again, if you may not be able to. That won't be unusual. You may not be able to, but you had to feel something.
If you can compare it to a feeling, I would say low self-esteem, but it was for like.
That's not a feeling.
It's an emotion.
That's not an emotion. That's a description.
It's sad, but it.
Okay.
But it gave me like, it was like a split second. It just made me like want to really do better with this myself and like the things I do, and just like gave me like a fire to do better. But I do have a question.
Okay.
Now, you know, along the line of us helping each other, isn't like, you know, when you marry someone, isn't like your helpmate? You know, don't you like supposed to help each other?
You want me to give you an answer now?
Yeah.
What if I tell you I've already given that answer and taught on that extensively about that very thing?
Where, can you point me to it?
I spent some time really talking about that.
We can help him with that, Pastor.
Okay, because I really spent some time. Ain't no man, no help mate. No.
Help each other thing, but help mate.
You know what that is? What you just said? Let me think of a nice way to say that. That's old wives' tale. with no truth in it. That's stuff that we've talked about and made it up. It's inconsistent with what God says. Now, the closest thing to that, it says we should submit to one another and prefer one another. But the whole help thing, before you know it, you'll be bargaining. I did this for you, then you do that for me. And now you're into a whole nother thing. That's why it's like, no. But they're gonna help you. They're gonna help you out with that. Okay.
I was gonna. I don't want to say help, David. So, the first, how I felt a bit of fear when I had to go back and think about what I brought into the relationship. There was a little bit of fear in me because I'm like, did I bring anything good into the relationship, right? And so I went back into my past and where I was at the time. And I mean, I'll share with you, the first thing I wrote on my card was, I brought reconciliation, but not for me, right? Because I needed that, right? So I was like, man, the first thing I think about was on the negative side. Like, that's what I brought in. So it was a bit of fear in me, like, now I've got to go back and look, and did I really bring, this chocolate sexiness into the marriage like I thought I did?
There was no way you were going to avoid bringing that in. I mean, you were going to find a way
Pastor,
to get that in. I already knew
she
that.
asked for my number. You know what I'm saying? That's all I
See,
can say.
we knew that if we keep letting it play itself out.
That's all I can say.
Okay, go
all
on.
I can say. No, but yeah. So what came out when when it was pen to paper was a bit of fear. Like, did I bring anything good? I was a complete mess. What was going on? Oh yeah, man. But I got to write something down. Right, so it was a bit of fear, and then I had to sprinkle in some good stuff. Right, I brought some good stuff, and I had to put that in there for my own ego, for my own self, right? Because I was just like, hold up, I was young and dumb and all that other stuff, right?
And not so bad.
But I was a chocolate.
See, you probably see me, but not so bad after all when it all boils down, right?
Chocolate sexy.
Okay. When it all boiled down, I wasn't so bad after all. All right. So, okay, go on.
This is a serious thing to me, so that's why I'm probably not doing a lot of laughing, because it actually made me feel bad. It really did, because I had to be reminded of what God has forgiven me for, because it took a while. Okay, with Kent, 2 children, coming into a marriage. Okay, 2 different women coming into a marriage. And then it made me think about the emotional strain, and not the physical part I got, but it was the emotional strain that I brought.
I know you can't look at it. I know, because you can't script what you feel.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So
you can't script what you feel because you got triggers. So no, you got to just tell what you feel.
Yeah,
Because when you in a discussion with someone telling how you feel, you don't say, "Hold up, I got this on paragraph 7, line 3." You like right in the moment.
I need to put that up there then.
Right.
Card. Some other stuff came out.
No,
But
you give me a card and to keep it turned down so I won't look at it.
You can look at it.
No, I'm not interested.
Okay.
No, you put it up there. No, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in looking at it. Because I might say, "Are you kidding me?" Now that's so no, I don't need to look at it.
So I just thought it took me back to, like, the emotions that I put on my wife, the emotional strain. I'm real quick with my words. I can dominate a conversation. I'm like that, and I think I'm right to go with that. So it just took me back to those times, but I'm also thankful that I asked questions.
Feelings, stay on feelings, stay on feelings.
My feelings was that I'm grateful. The good part that came out in my feelings was that I always asked those questions. So I knew.
Yeah, you notice how difficult it is when we try to stay on feeling? Because we somehow reroute ourselves out of it. Because you have to stay I mean, right then, the most vulnerable conversation you're going to have is how you feel. It's like now, because somebody could poke holes in it. They could poke holes in when you say, you know what, you make me feel, yeah, not Aretha Franklin. You don't make me feel like that, you know.
So I felt like an abuser verbally. That's what it took me back to.
Okay. Thomas?
Well, when I think about this whole thing,
What whole thing?
What the question that you?
What's the question?
About write down what you brought to the marriage
Okay.
or the relationship.
Okay. Now, how did it make you feel?
How it made me feel?
Right.
It made me feel kind of bad.
Kinda.
What made me feel bad?
Okay, yeah. So he gonna whitewash kinda. Is it some kinda? Is it much kinda? Little kinda?
It did make me feel bad.
Okay,
Think
all right.
about how do I even sit next to her right now, and this brings up a lot of bad memories since 2005 because I was.
How did it make you feel? Stay on feeling. You notice the challenge?
When I met her, she said she wanted to meet somebody in church. He wanted to meet a man to go to church. And I was in church. That's about all. I was in church. I was playing church. And so I was not what I was supposed to be. And then, so I brought a lot of mess from the beginning, a lot of falsehood, a lot of lies, manipulation.
Now, how did it make you feel to have to face that?
It made me feel bad because when I look at myself and I look at things right now, am I getting some of this back in what I did? Because it is.
All right, okay, stop right there. All right, stop right there. Stick a pin in that and stop right there. Romans 8:1 says, now therefore, there is no condemnation. So leave it alone. Just leave it alone right there. Just stop it right there. Don't go any further. Because you're about to embrace something from darkness. Revelation chapter 12 says Satan is the accuser, or he's the finger pointer. He points the finger and said, look at you. Look at you. Look at you. That's what he does. He'll start reminding you of your junk and make you feel so bad about it. That's from the kingdom of darkness. That's not from the Lord at all. And so when we start embracing what he says, then immediately we go down. Then immediately we get hostile. Immediately we get angry. Because the biggest challenge is when you are exposed to yourself. I'll give you all a homework passage. When Jesus was having this conversation, and Peter said, get away from me. I am so unworthy. Because he saw himself. In Isaiah chapter 6, when it says, I saw the Lord high and lifted up, and he starts to say how woe is me. I'm a person of unclean lips because I saw myself. And see, and once you do it, then now all of a sudden you're like, man, I didn't know I was like this. I have to accept that this is it. But if we confess our sin, he is faithful, he is just to forgive us and to cleanse us. So you can talk about what it was and ask him for forgiveness, but when he forgives you, say, don't go back and do this. Don't resemble what you're asking me to forgive you for. Don't resemble this anymore, because that says you were just lying. It's like you just don't go back. You may say I was like that, but praise God, I'm not. But you can't go back, or the forgiveness is off the table. The forgiveness, because he knows whether you're serious or not. Just like with the 10 lepers, he said, I told them they're going to be cleansed. Keep walking. One came back, and he asked, where are the 9? Because they didn't say thank you. They didn't say thank you. All right. We've heard from all of them except for the Coopers. They thought they were off, so it's the Coopers' turn now. So we've been working this.
I would say that the exercise, it made me feel vulnerable and insecure, because the things that I wrote down are things that I spend time covering up or talking myself through it, positive vibes, keep your head up, and, and not letting those type
Or
of
do you chase karma?
labels.
Do you chase karma too?
Oh, no.
Okay, all right.
No, but I'm saying not letting those type of labels consume me. I spend my time, making myself look good, like I don't carry those labels with me. So it was eye-opening to write those things down and to realize that, this is or was, a part of you, of who you are, that you need to work through or have worked through some of those things.
See, there is no change without acknowledgement of the need. Nothing ever happens. You can fight back whatever anybody has to say. You can justify why you are the way that you are all day long, and you can push back, whitewash, do that all day. But it doesn't change the reality. When thou stinketh, thou stinketh.
It's true.
And it doesn't matter what type of aroma you put on. The funk comes through a fresh aroma.
It's true.
It just don't match. It's like, what is that? If you were to say what you're using, they said, no, it doesn't smell like that. They can tell it just does not. It does not match. It does not match. So for someone to get Amos 3:3. For Jerica.
Amos 3:3?
Yes. Well, praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. All right, Amos 3:3. Do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so?
Okay, so maybe you want to say, can two walk together unless they're in agreement? The answer is no. The answer is no. Answer is no. So the reason for this table being up here is about literally this verse. It really is tied in to this about agreement. And when I ask you all about putting these things on opposite side, think of this word convergence. Convergence, in which you've got these two things coming from opposite directions coming together. Just kind of picture this. Opposite directions coming together. They're converging. Because everything on one side, everything on another side is brought, and they're distant, they're standalone. And the only way this can work, there has to be agreement and a convergence. A convergence. Now, can two people exist in a relationship? Absolutely. They can exist. There are so many people who have survived and stayed together because of children. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years because of the children. They had turned cold on each other, but and in some they'll stay because they had investments. They stayed together. They existed in an arrangement. Not a marriage, but an arrangement. And so there are a lot of people who coexist with no convergence. And on the outside, so many times people have no idea about the turmoil or the conflict or the chaos that's going on. Because when they're out, it looks like, but it's a boiling inferno. Because you can hide behind the smiles and the places, and because the conflicts are less when you're around other people. They don't show up at the same level. We can deal with rebranding, imaging, all of that publicly, but the inferno still exists. Because without agreement, there is no convergence. And so therefore that's what this one that you are aware of that looks like convergence. You had Sprint, which was larger, had been around longer, and you had T-Mobile. Sprint had more of ABCD, more recognized worldwide, people knew who it was, and all of a sudden T-Mobile shows up. Verizon is doing what it's doing. AT&T is doing what it's doing. But you got Sprint, the third one. It was AT&T, it was Verizon, it was Sprint, primarily. So you had Sprint over here, you got T-Mobile over here, and they say, we want to enter into an agreement, which says now, you could not keep two CEOs. Sprint had a CEO, T-Mobile had a CEO. They had multiple employees and executive vice presidents on both sides. But these boards decided we're building out this agreement. Now, in doing that, the convergence is all of a sudden says, we've got to determine how we can get all of this lined up for all the right reasons. And so here people are in a relationship. They're bringing all of their executive VPs, a man and a woman, bring all the executive VPs and maintenance department and all of that. Because they've been functioning and existing independently as Sprint and as T-Mobile. And you were one of them. You came in with your whole cadre of stuff. Everything about you is what it was, and then you decided, I see T-Mobile or I see Sprint, and we want us to do phones together. And you've got all your empire, and they've got all their empire, and you say, I like what I see you doing over here. I like what I see you doing over here, but we've got to decide, what will this look like for us together? Convergence cannot occur with everything T-Mobile had or what Sprint had. Convergence cannot occur in spite of how chocolate sexy you think you are. Just that by itself can't make it happen. You follow me? Are you following what I'm saying? That won't last, but only for one night. So that's all that it would mean. And it's over. Okay, let's be clear. It's over. I mean, do you know, and then you know the only reason that people keep getting high, and Thomas can verify this, and I'm just using him because he's had the most varied experience. Listen to what I'm saying now. He had the most varied, but not the only in here. Okay, so let's give him a mic. So let's be clear. He had the most varied, but not the only one that's introduced. Now you need to give it to him. You ain't gonna give it. Hey, wait. Roller. No, you know, Roller sitting here. Take it. You take it. And he's sitting right here. Well, where is it? And he said, take it. But I mean, you just gotta love it. You just gotta. Hey, Thomas, here it is. Where is it? So okay, back. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't miss much. I miss some stuff, but I don't miss much. So he has the most varied experience. And here's what I say. The reason that people continue to do it is because they're trying to chase that first experience that you never catch up to. So, Brother Thomas, why don't you tell them about that?
Well, you never get it. It's wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and that's it. It's over with. It's
Hold it up so we can hear you.
It's an explosion that happens only one time, and you know that one time that it happens, you be B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way down, trying to replay that most powerful, good feeling that you got that you'll never get again. And it's like chasing a ghost. chasing something. It's like a dog chasing his tail. He'll never catch his tail. He'll run around in a circle, or like a mouse in a maze. He'll never get out. You know, and it's just basically like that. It's being in bondage, going in one door, just going indoors and never getting to the end
Until you've had enough.
until you made to have enough. And that's even death or God just, you know, taking his hands off you. And that's it. You know, that's it. It's a bad place to be.
And so we had this experience. I just crack up every time I think about it. When Thomas fully made up his mind, when we were at Christian Hospital Northeast, and he was up on the psych ward. Now, hold it up so he can hear you. Hold up his head.
For the fifth time.
For the fifth time. Now, he really didn't need to be at the psych ward. Okay. Are you following what I'm saying? He really didn't need to be at the psych ward, but that was an out. But it was that day that I went up to to visit him. Why don't you tell him about that day I came up to visit him,
Well-
and he started telling me about the experience of being up there that time.
Well, I had it's like a dream I was having, or I'm not gonna say a nightmare, but it was a dream I was having. And so I'm totally blind, and this is 2011, November the 18th, and I was laying in my bed to sleep, and I woke up and this man was drooling over me. And then I can see his face. And I'm totally blind. I've been blind since 2002. And so they're running around in the hallway screaming and howling, urinating, crapping, fighting, and it's going crazy. And the Lord said, is this where you want to be? Is this what you want? This is where you want to be? Because I'm going to leave you here, and I'm going to take my hands off of you and change you to a reprobated mind. But what's the other thing in the middle of all of that? I've seen green, orange, purple, and red men with grinding teeth, bald head, horns sticking out their head, and I've seen these barrels just going around in a circle, and underneath the barrel, nothing but red, nothing but fire. And then behind all of that, I just seen purple and different type of curtains just turning. And he said, if you don't stop, I'm going to take my hands off of you and leave you to the devil. Taking my hands off you. And immediately, I got up and got my cane, went to the phone, and I said, Pastor, I'm ready, man, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. You know, and ever since then, but the moral of it all, but still, even coming clean and sober, I still had to change, not just the pickup, the physical, you had to change the mental. And that's the thing. A lot of times, that's the hardest thing to do, is to give completely up. Is change your mind, stop, you know. And so that's what he did for me.
Yeah, amen. Amen. So now, that's a picture of letting you know about the change. Now, where did I leave you all off on T-Mobile and Sprint? Let's see how much attention we were paying. Where did I leave you off? All right. You bringing them all in, and so here's this man, here's this woman, bringing all their stuff. Right in the middle. Bringing all your stuff. Both insisting, this is me. This is me. This is where I am. You know this is where I am. So I bring all my stuff in here. That means there's still T-Mobile and there's still Sprint. It took them a while to get it all settled. At first, they were called as Sprint T-Mobile because they didn't get this, they didn't get the convergence. So it was called Sprint T-Mobile while they were still working through the details to finally call it T-Mobile. It became T-Mobile after they got rid of what was not going to make them better as one entity. Now you don't even hear Sprint mentioned. All you hear is T-Mobile because they got rid of what would not make them better. That's what convergence looked like. Now, on the other hand, you could have just had it like this, all scrambled, which means chaos. Because which CEO is going to answer to what CEO? What executive vice president over technology is going to answer to which one? But they all functioning because they've been there. I had my job. I've done all of that. And so here's two people coming in trying to make a marriage work while still functioning independently as CEO of T-Mobile and CEO of Sprint. So now that's what this looks like. This communion table is here as a picture that the only way that is going to give God glory, the foundation is this: it has to come to Him. It has to come to Him, and you can't decide because of your experiences or what you think is so great about you. You can't decide. The foundation for the convergence is already set because of what He has said. It's already set. So He says, I want you to bring me all your stuff. All your stuff, both of you, bring it all to me. And if you both look to me, then I'll let you know what's unlike me. Not what you like so much, but what's unlike me. That's what's got to go. Where it's going to be less about your favorite things and more about my favorite things. That's what convergence looks like. Where you don't have a vested interest in any aspect of what you thought was a strength for you, nor does the other person that you're with. And you can't build a case to say, I'm better at this than you are, and I'm better at that. Because now you've lorded over superiority because you thought what you were doing was better than. That's not convergence. They had to work through all of this at T-Mobile and Sprint. You know, we got a great policy. We got a great customer service front. I'm sure one of them had a better one than the other one. I'm sure that one was better than another. You got to decide who had been the CEO the longest, which one? Or was it the wide range of experience? Or did they have to get a third one that was not either one of them? They would have to come up with a conclusion that allowed all these things to look like one, which means emblems had to change. Everything had to change. How you even arrange where you stay based on what it was like because you liked it is now irrelevant when it comes to convergence. Every detail is different. And that really is what well, you know, it's always been sitting right there. Okay, and that was when you were just T-Mobile. The whole dynamic changed. And so if you're not open to tearing the whole thing up, you have not converged. You're surviving, but you've not converged. You've not converged. And here's the deal. It doesn't matter how long you've been with each other. You're still just surviving. You know, that's why I say you can keep flowing through it, but the joy and excitement and enthusiasm, because there still are these spaces you don't touch, you don't want to talk about, you don't want to deal with, that you're not okay with, because it doesn't look like you. It should look like both of you all of the time. Until it looks like both of you, then it's not good enough for either one of you. It should look like both of you, which means it cannot be dominated by either one, whether you have a strong, convincing personality like DeJuan said, I make people listen to what I got to say, and I convince them of it. That don't work. And I'm only using him as an example because I can talk louder and say it faster with more eloquence doesn't make it right. It's got to look like both of us. and making a declaration of being a man is the worst possible statement to make to be able to say why it ought to be a certain way. Because all that did is, that's what you call abuse. You call that abuse because I'm going to dominate and say, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's got to look like both. How many men look like women? How many women look like men? I'm just asking. By biological design, how many men look like women? How many women look like men? And if that not be the case, then how can a man say what it ought to look like? How can a woman say what it ought to look like? When what he said is the two become one when they converge, now it looks like both of them. And when it says looks like both of them, then that says this is not 60-40, this is not even 50-50. You know, Teddy Pendergrass made a lot of money off that song. Wrong. It's so good. Loving somebody when somebody loves you back, and that's a fact. But it's just not true. You know, he said, I want a 50-50. 50-50. All you want is 50% of a person in? Is that all you want? So, I mean, think about it. They can slough off whenever they get ready. You got to be all in. All in. All in. Take me with all my flaws because I'm taking you with all yours. All of them. But that doesn't give you justification to keep and celebrating your flaws either. You just say them and kick them to the curb. Now, here's the other thing. Conversion doesn't say, well, give me 6 months to get it together. No, it means now. Because they have a limited amount of time. When they say a merger is going to occur, it's like, no, here's the conditions. This is what it's got to look like. And this is what you've got to do. And I'm not going to give you time to work on it. This starts now. So when we started saying, well, I don't do it as much as I used to, that's more than it still should be. It's off. It's off. Well, you know, I'm going to cut back on my shop. Cut back. Make it a line item. Put a cap on it. Now, agree to a cap. Now, shop until you pass out, but it'll stop right here. But it requires agreement. See, so even though he may say, it's got to be what both say. What both say that it is. See, this convergence thing, and then I got to give you all one more thing, and then we're going to start. We need to do this.
I
Yes.
got a question.
Yes.
So, if the woman is just the helpmate to the man, help me understand.
Did you say just?
I mean, no, but this is what you all just said. The woman is just helping
Just?
the man. Well, not just, but.
But you that's what you
well,
said.
The woman is the helpmate to help the man, right? How will it look both dominated? Like how?
We didn't say anything about dominating.
Oh well, like both of y'all have converged. How would it look like both converge if the woman is just the helpmate?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So
just a question like,
no. Before I answer that question, what have you heard that a helpmate is? Then I'll respond.
Well, since we're going there, we have to put a pin in it. We'll pick this up later.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. You put yourself into this. No, we're not. Hold on. I need to give you all something. Okay. No, you open it up now. We got to deal with it.
To me, a helpmate is definitely someone.
Oh, and just so you all to know, this is are we on YouTube and Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be out there. But go on.
So to me, a helpmate is definitely someone that, like, filling the deficits or like, or no deficit. You help each other with the deficits. Where,
So your belief is the man can be all man, and the woman need to tag along to fill in the deficit. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what I just said. The woman is just the helpmate.
No, that's not what
we just said. What was
No, what I was asking you is, what do you see? What are your thoughts about what a helpmate is? Because sounds like you're trying to build a case about something.
No, all right.
No, you can't. You can. No, you can't. You can't back out of it. You're in it.
I don't even got nothing to say now. I ain't, you got it.
You want this to work, right?
Right.
Then you got those thoughts in your head. You got to get those thoughts out and raise your question so we can clean it up before you leave. Now, what are your thoughts about helpmate? Because if you walk out of here with those same thoughts, there are problems in the house.
Well, can you explain to me what helpmate is to y'all? Maybe mine's wrong.
No. What are you calling it?
Someone that helps you, deficits, each other deficits, you know, help each other.
Okay,
deficits.
all right, okay.
Filling each other deficits.
All right, okay. First of all right, this is how it really goes. Every young woman needs to be under the tutelage of a more seasoned woman. Every young man needs to be under the tutelage of a more seasoned man. As a man, as a woman, not as a husband and wife, as a man, as a woman. Because until that is clearly established, there is no husband and wife. There isn't. It's just two people hanging out, messing each other's life up. Because I had to first of all learn how to be a legitimate man before I'm marriage eligible. So therefore, I need to be in that space, the same way a woman needs to be in that space, or I'm going to mess her up and she's going to mess me up. While trying to be something that we can't be, it requires a man and a woman to be married. Not just a male and a female. A man and a woman. Are you all understanding? It requires a real man and a real woman. Or that can't be a marriage. So that's the reason why she's assigned to these two and she's not talking to them enough. So I'm saying it straight in her face. She's not talking to them enough. You are assigned to Roland, and you all need to spend as much time as you can, because you need to learn man, and he can help you how to be a man. A man, not a man-child, a man. They're graceful enough to teach her how to be a woman. She may think she's a woman. They can teach her how to be a graceful woman. He can teach you how to be a man. And you know why he will? Because when a man teaches another man how to be a man, there's no wiggle room.
None.
Because every male will wiggle and squirm.
Yes, we do.
To not do what it takes to be a man. They'll wiggle and squirm. And each one of us who got to that place had to learn it. Because we'll find a way out. We'll find a way out. Natural maleness will find a way out and be irresponsible. Won't they, John? You see, notice. I mean, that's the way that it is. We'll be irresponsible. Because we always connive and we always got something else going on. We always got a backup plan. Every male has a backup plan until they become a full-grown man. 1 Corinthians 13 said, when I was a child, I thought like a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. That's what the word said. I put it away. But let me tell y'all this last thing, and then we got to stop. Because somebody else had a mic. He had it, but he's gone now. I just need to give you all. Yes, sir. No, you were about to say something? No, I don't. No, were you about to say something? Okay, so what I have, the last thing, is for you all to pass these out. These are 10 biblical principles for marriage and marriage counseling. It's one for each one of you. And it's going to answer even that whole issue. You want to give some of them to Dwayne? Why don't you take some of these while he's doing that? Let me give you some. And because part of this, these are some things that you just need to know. Need to know. But are you understanding convergence? Are you understanding convergence? Are you understanding convergence? Now, in response to part of your question, David, Gwen is my wife, and I'm not looking for anything from her. Because I'm a man. I'm not looking for anything from her. If she's a godly woman, that's going to take care of itself. So I'm not looking for anything from her. So I don't have a list of stuff for her. She wouldn't do it no way. So therefore, that's why I'm not creating no list. But you're not listening. You're too busy talking, man. I'm trying to help you out, and you're not listening. See, if you listen, it'll help you out dramatically. I want you to look at this woman. Look at this woman. Well, they too goofy. They too goofy, the two of them. They like absolutely. I shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake, because she just as goofy as he is over here. So that don't help nothing. That does not help. That doesn't help anything. That doesn't help anything. Because in other words, here's the deal. My responsibility as a man is to make sure that she's at her best. It's not her responsibility to make sure I'm at my best. It really is in reverse. It's not her responsibility to make sure I'm at my best. It's my responsibility to make sure she's at her best. By contrast. That really is the difference. So while we're wasting a whole lot of time trying to get this woman to be an asset. Assets beget assets. Just understand it. You live as one will manifest. You live as one, and one will manifest. So you never have to have when Sprint and T-Mobile did this. The more they talked, they came to realize this is not as complicated as it appears. We don't need this. We don't need that. We got enough lines. We got enough this. Who has the best optic fiber? Did we look at this? We don't need that. We don't need this. This can take us further. This can do that. And since they've merged, now T-Mobile has continued to expand now that they've come together, because they have more resources to expand with that neither one of them had by themselves. But once they, again, got together, now you start seeing where they're the biggest competitor to Verizon now. Whereas the two of them by themselves could not, but now they're the biggest competitor because they're continuing to build and to do that, because they realize, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need this, I don't need that. Here's what we really need. Everything you had before you got together, you don't need while you're together. It's excess, and you don't need it. Some stuff just got to go because it doesn't serve you well. It doesn't serve you well. I mean, unless you want to put on dresses and skirts, men. Now, if that's not your MO, be a man. And do what a man does. And that is, you serve at the highest level in order that everyone else around you is a beneficiary. Where everybody around you is a beneficiary all of the time. Now get this. Last thing. The man is never off the clock but the woman is called to rest. She's called to rest. Because it takes more for her to take care of herself than it does for the man. You don't take a, all you gotta do is compare how long it takes you to get dressed, how long it takes a woman to get dressed. I mean, it's just that tells you something. You're never off the clock, but they're called to rest. Because therefore, what you do should give them the opportunity to rest. To rest. Because Ephesians 5 says they got to be presented without spot or wrinkle, and that says getting their rest, being at their best, having the ability to think, and they're not stressing about what comes next. They're not. So your chocolate thunder back there hollering about what he's doing. Now he's got the pimp walk. Now he's back there with the pimp walk. You know, now okay. So why don't you all come and get your own cards before we leave, and then that would be it. Get what you wrote. All right, we will.